Welcome to Angus IT, the podcast all about anxiety, depression, and rambles. Rambles from our shambly brains. I am Elaine Best, your host, and I have tried to record this 3 times now. It wasn't due to any technical issue unless we count my brain, in which case, yes, my brain needed a reboot. I have continued to forget what I'm saying as I'm talking, so I'm gonna try to be less all over the place in this one. And honestly, this is it. I'm calling it. So if things don't make sense, I'm gonna apologize in advance. I'm gonna do my best to remember what I'm saying. Oh, and connected. And this should probably be a really great prologue into why I'm this way. I had a weird weekend. I just thought about my life a lot, and it was one of those things where you're thinking and you're like, should I sell everything and go live in a van for a hot sec? And that's that's a deep level of thinking about your life when you're like, I'm so sick of my possessions. And I have been working a lot, but I feel like I'm not getting a lot done. Last week, I did launch Sloshbucklers. I'm so happy and excited. I'm actually really proud of how that episode turned out. I did have 2 days to edit 4 hours of audio into an hour and a half, and I believe it took me upwards of 30 hours to edit in 2 days, which is a lot. I ate the same pizza for 2 days straight. Not the healthiest moment of my life. So I think I'm mentally just recovering from that. Look, y'all know that I've done a lot of chaotic editing at the last minute. That might have been the worst scenario I've set myself up in, but I'm also very proud of the editing I did there. So I will take it for what it is. But that is all to say that I feel very brain mushy today. It is a Monday. I usually record on Fridays, so I'm all behind. It's 4 p.m. now. Like I just said, I've tried to record this 3 times. This is the 3rd time, and I'm just like, just fucking say something. I kind of had a list of ideas of what to talk about, but, sometimes I don't force a topic if I'm not feeling it that day. It's something I want to talk about, but if I'm like, I'm not as enthusiastic about it today, it's going to be subpar. I'm like, okay, let's hold it. So I am now here. Hi. Okay. Introspective. Why was I so in my feels this weekend? Yes, guys. Okay. So I started watching a YouTube channel called Yes Theory, and it's this group of people, and they go on these beautiful adventures. They travel, and they do the kind of traveling I love. They meet the locals, they'll go to some of the touristy things, but their big thing is they meet the locals and they somehow end up on adventures with the locals. They end up at their houses and then they go to their farms. I don't know, it's wild, but it's my favorite kind of travel. I love nothing more than having a few items on the schedule, okay, go see the Sistine Chapel, whatever, and then you leave just an X amount of time to wander around and let things happen to you. And they're the masters of it. I'm so jealous because they're so good at meeting up with locals. And I'm I would love to randomly end up on someone's boat. I don't know, but not in a murder way. It does help that they're all guys, I will say. Not to say that women can't travel, and I'm all about solo travel as well. But let's be real, it is easier in this world if you're a guy, literally in the world in different countries. You tend to not probably feel like you're going to get murdered as much. I don't know. Anyway, I binged them this weekend. I don't know if y'all remember my Outlander week and a half. I watched 5 seasons of Outlander in a week and a half, and each episode is about an hour long. I got hooked and I could not stop. And I was like, man, I would love to time travel and not be here right now. And I sometimes have unhealthy binges like that where I'm like, it's the truest form of escapism. I'm like, I just really want to plop myself into someone else's life. I was walking Fern last night and I just had this vision of being in someone else's living room, and they have it cutely decorated, but they never think about it. They're like, oh yeah, this is my living room. And just being able to sit on their couch and hear them talk about their babysitter or something. I don't just something so beautifully small and just at ease. I was like, I want that. And then that thought, my friends, that thought spread. It spread as the weekend progressed. And that thought, I had it like a little bit before on Friday too, but by the end of this weekend, I was just very like, what is life? And so that kind of idea of like, oh, if I could just plop myself anywhere, where would I go? And then I come across Yes Theory, this travel channel, and then I'm just like I'm stabbed by nostalgia. It's just like, remember when you got to do things? Remember when you were exciting and went on an adventure and now you just like sit on your couch and you cry while you watch YouTube? You hold your dog, and you drink wine, you're just like, I love you. No hate there. That turned into just me recounting the bullet point facts of my weekend. But let's get back into the meta, the shit that can't just be put on paper. I am suffering right now from the idea that you can do anything in life you want to as long as you have like the basic means. Like mentally, we stop ourselves from doing a lot of things, but we might financially and whatever actually be able to do it. So like for me, quitting my job, I had all the pieces together and it happened. And so now I have a beautiful problem. I will call it a beautiful problem that is weighing on me. And it is the idea now that there are other things I have never actually let myself consider that could be things in my life that now, because I have proven to myself I can do those things, I am now considering. It is very dangerous because a lot of these things will take time or money or what have you, but they are within reach in a scary way. Like they are so scarily close. And to me, why I say scary is because that means it's doable, which means I can now be crushed by my dreams. Like something I've always wanted to do is I wanted to go on a road trip or do something like that, just like travel for a month, but it's just wherever the wind takes me. And maybe it's just me in the van with Fern or what have you. I don't know, but I Airbnb in a different place each week or each month even. I just want to explore different towns. I've talked about how I'm ready to move, but I don't know where. I want to try something new. And so I think that would be a great way to get to learn if I like a place or not. Do I vibe with the people? Do I feel like I would enjoy just like being there? I have no idea. Yeah, that's another thing that's just weighing on the back of my head. It's like, where are you going to move? Who knows? But focusing more on the present and really weird, stupid problem I've given myself is, things like the van. I like my things, but then at the same time, I had this urge over the weekend to be like, I just want to put a few things in storage, sell everything, and then not be homeless, but be on the road for a month again. Like, I don't know where that came from. And I think the good thing, though, I will say about that is things like that, going on the road or whatever it may be, it wouldn't be to prove something to anyone, and it wouldn't be to specifically make people think I'm cool or anything like that. And I think some people do that. And especially, I just mentioned that because on YouTube, I feel like I see a lot of people do that. They're like, I bought an island just because I could. And it's like, okay, but like, why? You just did that for a video. You didn't actually like have any desire to do it kind of thing. Which is why I like Yes Theory, is because they are very passionate about what they do. And it's very easy to see that. And it's contagious. And I'm like, okay, cool. In my past, I have caught myself setting a standard of adventures or stories or wild things that I should do to prove to people that I am interesting and to also prove that my mental health disorder doesn't hold me back. Here's where that gets a little like rocky on the mental health disorder side. I think that we can do a lot of things with our mental health disorders, and I do truly believe when we like work on ourselves, we can do whatever we want, right? But I think it is healthy that we have limits, because you know what? People without mental health disorders still have limits on what they do. Like we're used to having to push through a lot of things that are smaller in the grand scheme of life, like ordering at the drive-thru, going grocery shopping, meeting someone at a bar and you've never been to the bar before. Like going to those places can be very agonizing for us. But over time, we learn how to deal with our mental health disorder. Maybe we get on the right medication, we go to therapy, and even though we may not always love those things, we've built up the muscle to do it. And then we can apply that muscle elsewhere. Other people might not have to do that in their life, and they therefore never build up that muscle. And so, I don't want to call them normal people, but people without mental health disorders are still anxious and stressed about these things. And they're also still afraid to go do the wild things. So why should I, as someone with bipolar disorder, feel like I need to prove everyone wrong and go do the wildest, scariest thing that even people without mental health disorders, like the average population, what have you, wouldn't do anyway? And also for the sake of trying to prove something, like I want to enjoy what I do. I don't just want to do something scary for the sake of, I have a one-liner cool story. I was miserable the whole time. And then maybe in the aftermath, it is a fun story, but it's like, would it have been worth it in the end? Or could I have focused on an adventure that really fed my soul? And you know what? It could have been smaller. It's still going to be interesting. Life is interesting. Other people's lives are interesting. A lot of us think we're boring, and we are not. Everybody is a nosy bitch, and we love to hear about you, Unless you endlessly talk about your figurines, okay? If you have tiny little clown figurines, I don't want to hear about it. Good for you. Write it in your diary. Do not ever talk to me about it ever again. Thank you. So I came to that realization that I set standards for myself to appear as somebody who is not beaten down by my bipolar disorder. I'm like, there's so many other ways to do that. And also, I need to go at my own pace. That's fine. I just need to live life the best way for me. And then maybe I'll feel more inclined and better and happier to do those things. And as I had that discovery, I started to get really sad because I am losing my muscle that I've built up. I usually have a tag on here, anxious traveler, for things I've done, talking about my big trips or when I go to conferences by myself. And I say that because I actually do get very anxious when I travel, even though it is my favorite hobby. Hands down, I love traveling. It feeds my soul. It's something I never thought I'd get to do. And so the fact that I keep doing it just makes me happy. I don't really care beyond that what people think. I do love to try to seek out stories though. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's different to seek out a story, for others, or is it for yourself and then you happen to tell people and it brings them joy as well? There's a difference. But I'm thinking about it and now I'm more anxious now to travel than I was before because I haven't done it in so long. And a lot of our anxieties are things built up in our mind and then we go to do it and it's not as bad. And I guarantee you the second I get my boarding pass, it will not be as bad. But in my head, I'm I forget how to do this. I used to have a routine. I was confident. And now I'm so out of practice. I'm afraid I'm going to get mugged everywhere I go. And it's just not a lot of logic has come back. And I used to be pretty good at knowing how things were. And so since I identified myself so much as the adventurer, and then pandemic hit and we're not going anywhere. And now I've quit my job and I'm just sort of on this overall who am I kind of vibe. Figuring that out this weekend and watching other people do what I would love to do, but I can't do right now, but maybe I could, but do I want to? You see all those questions, it just stirred around into a stew and I got a bowl and I ate it. And it was a little spicy, so I felt it afterwards, but I was full, but still hungry. It was a very confusing stew. And then I forgot to put it away overnight. It molded up, so I had to throw it away. But then I thought about that stew a lot, and I was like, I will never be able to recreate that stew. I'm not going to lie, I kind of forgot where I was going with this metaphor. No, it's gone. I think nostalgia is a bitch. It's so weird to have such a happy and sad feeling happen and come over you. When I think of nostalgia, I think we all have that one memory that hits us. It's the ultimate nostalgic moment for you. And in my life so far, it has been Venice. I was never supposed to be able to go to Venice when I was abroad. There were no flights that were within reason for a college student to be able to pop over to Italy. And I had so desperately wanted to go to Italy. And I was like, oh, okay, we can't. And then Easter weekend, which, Italy is Catholic. They are all about that. Should be super busy. But my friends and I, we were looking at tickets and we saw these miracle cheap plane tickets to Milan pop up for Easter weekend. And we got them. And then we're we will get train rides and go wherever. We do not care how early we have to wake up. This is the trip that was never supposed to be. And so We stayed in Milan, but we took train rides to Florence and Venice. And Venice was a 4-hour train ride there and back. So we got up really early. And so we had a single day to do Venice. And I knew I would like it, but it is possibly my favorite place on this earth. I happened to go on a beautiful spring day. Everything just lined up for it to be perfect. And I just remember how I felt that day. It wasn't necessarily that I saw all these beautiful things, even though that 100% contributed to it. But it was just the way I felt and just where I was in life at that point. And I remember we were waiting. We didn't want to get lost in Venice any further before our bus or whatever it was, train, would come to pick us up. And so we were just sitting outside a cafe drinking Pinot Grigio. I don't like white wine, but that Pinot Grigio was spot on. And it's cooling down and people are leaving for the day and just watching the canal and the sunset. I don't know, but that is my ultimate nostalgic feeling and memory, because that is something where I would plop myself at that table with that Pinot Grigio in a heartbeat. And you can't ever really recreate a moment, right? We can chase moments, but we'll never get them back, which is so stupid and very melodramatic, because I think there are still beautiful moments to be had. And I think you can have very similar feelings. I think it's very horrifying to be you will never feel like that again. It's no, you can. It might just be a Merlot instead of a Pinot Grigio, But I got very lost in that memory. My bad. I guess that's all to say that I really miss having moments like that. And I've only known how to have those through travel for the most part, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's just how it's been. But obviously, I haven't been able to do that. A lot of people whose lives were focused on travel had to stop and be okay, well, now what? And I think I am just in the ultimate now what, and I'm having nostalgia for what has been that was never part of what was. Wow, Elaine, what the fuck did you just say? I'm craving the moments that were rare oddities in my life that I now know that I could strive for, that they could then be more normal, a more normal part of my life. And I'm not saying I'm going to move to Venice and somehow drink my wine as the sun sets every single day. First off, it's sinking. It's not a long-term plan. But there has to be something in that mood, though, that I can recreate in my life. Why does that have to be just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? What do I like about these places I travel to? How can I recreate that in my home? Even just the decorations of my home. I've never had to decorate a place until I had my current place, and it's big. I had to fill it with shit, and I still don't know how to decorate. I feel like I'd done a pretty good job, but now I have an idea of the aesthetic I want. When I come home, I want to just be on that couch and be happy about it because it's just so cozy and I like it. And I'd never thought that, oh, other people have that. Maybe I can have that too. It was just oh yeah, other people can have that. I'm no, I can do that too. So, what are these aspects of these places I go to and I love that I can bring home and have for myself? I love Dublin because it's a walkable city, but you can go out in nature very easily. Well, is there a place like that in the US? Maybe I should go live there for a little bit or something. Maybe I should make that my go-to place. Things like that. And it's just overwhelming to want to go after things you want, because now they're no longer dreams. They're to-do lists that can be crushed. They cannot happen. They can result in me ending up in a French sewer singing Les Mis. I don't know why that came to me. But I hope this isn't coming off too much like me being oh, I don't get to travel anymore. I guess for me, I'm thinking just big picture in life, and I'm just God, other people, it's so weird. I feel like I keep seeing people now, ever since I quit. They're just people doing what I want to do, but I didn't know I wanted to do it. And they keep popping up. And because they keep popping up, I'm seeing what they're doing. And I'm oh, I feel like I could do that. And here's how I could do that. It's within reach now, and it's scary because it's I'm pancaking my life. I'm just flipping everything over. And I'm not sure what it means. And I guess this rambly episode, if I can even try to connect it all together, is just this idea of what does adventure mean to you? And how can you have more of it in your life? Why, does it necessarily have to be this thing that happens once a year? Or, how can you make your life this great adventure, even if you're not doing wild things? You don't like get on a random bus with people in Norway, which I did do. It was interesting, but that happened like once in my entire life, right? Like, how do you do these things that bring you that kind of joy? How can you just like bring it into your life more? Like, why can't you do it? There's nothing saying you can't. And again, like, even if it's just like switching up the way your home looks, maybe it invokes some of that feeling. Maybe I just go buy a nice bottle of Pinot Grigio and I think back on that time. Like, there are ways I can do this. And I'm glad I got to talk to you about it. Sometimes I imagine y'all like talk back at me and then I like laugh at myself, but it only happens when I'm editing, mostly because I'm laughing at myself and not in the good way, just being like, oh, you dumb bitch, what are you even saying? I don't know. I think I'm not the only person going through this right now. I think we have itchy feet. We're like ready to go, ready to polish off our dusty boots. And I think we've all had a lot of time to think about our lives and like, how do we want to live them? We had everything stop. So how do we want to like go back? Do we want to keep it the way it was? Or are there some changes we want to have? If I'm thinking about some things I want to add into my life, I think a lot of the anxiety I have about traveling is that I'm just thinking, oh, I want to travel to X, but I don't have an itinerary or a plan. So wouldn't this be a great time to start creating trips for myself? Like, if I went to Portugal, what are some hotel options? What are the things I would do? What are the things I need to know? Like currency, all that kind of stuff for all of these places I want to go to. I could just have the Google Docs at the ready. I'll look at it. The unknown will not feel as unknown. I'll have price estimates. Like it becomes suddenly a thing that I can pull up and be like, okay, when can I do this? How do I do this? Who do I bring with me? Do I go by myself? And I think that'll help a lot. It's free to do planning. That's the beautiful thing. Even if I can't get the tickets or even if I can't get new furniture and stuff right now, what if I just made a list of like, yeah, these are couch colors I like, and this is a kind of light I would like to have, and the books I want to read. I don't know. There's just like, I think even though we can't do things right now, we can plan them and in a way that can release some of that pressure because it's not forgotten. It's not abandoned. It's there and you can see it and it can one day become real. I'm not going to lie. I just thought of that. And I was like, shit, I should probably do that. And fun thing, sometimes I say stuff here and I'm like, oh, that was really good. I should actually do that. And then I kind of forget I said it. And then I go to edit and I'm like, oh, wow, I should really go do that. So it's okay if it takes you a while to do things because I say this shit and even I need extra time to really be like, oh, I'm not doing this. I don't know how this is going down. Well, my voice is beat. That's right. I didn't do vocal warm-ups before any of these 3 recordings. I am very sad, but I'm excited about one thing that is completely random. If you follow me on Twitter, and I may have mentioned this on Instagram, I was trying to manifest a free pizza about a month ago. And nothing happened. Like I was playing with the law of attraction and it was not working for me. I tried to adjust. I tried to set a specific time. I tried to go after a specific brand and like everything I was doing wasn't working. So I gave up. Okay. A week ago, I kind of went through like I'm stressed, let me spend all the money I don't have phase, which is always helpful. And I ordered a pizza and it turns out I had enough Domino's points to get a free pizza. And I was like, okay, cool. Didn't think anything about it. Does that really count as manifesting a free pizza? I don't know, but I guess it technically appeared. But I ordered this pizza. The pizza I ordered gets me the free pizza, but this pizza is not free. And I get it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good, whatever. And then I get an email, and they're like, we're sorry, that didn't go the way we wanted it to, suggesting something was wrong with the order, and then they gave me a free pizza, like, coupon? And let me tell you, I'm like a quarter of the way through this pizza. I get this email and I like look down at the pizza. I'm like, what the fuck happened to this thing that I don't know about? Like was someone spitting on the food? Like what happened? Because everything looked fine to me. But I was like, okay, cool. So I actually have 2 free pizzas at my disposal. And it hit me yesterday that I manifested a free pizza and I ended up with 2 free pizzas, which I feel like is the delivery penalty. The universe didn't give me my free pizza within 30 minutes, and so I got a free pizza because of it. So I don't even know what to do with that. It just fucking made me laugh that I have 2 free pizzas now. Just a great, mini adventure for myself. So go find the things that bring you joy and don't run from them. Figure out what you need to do. And it's okay if you feel like you're really boring right now, because I feel like I'm really boring. I guarantee that you have very exciting things about your life that you might not think people find interesting, but I guarantee that they do. One day we will be able to go out there and do it all. And I think everybody is going to be rusty about how to do this shit. So you're not alone. And that even goes for people who don't have mental health disorders. Just a reminder, everybody is going to be rusty. It's not just you. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Angus IT. I really hope that I said words that connected into meaning. I honestly have no idea what I have said for the past 30 minutes or so. I don't know, but I really appreciate you listening to the very end. If you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, my handle is @AngusIT. That's Angus like the cow, I like the body part, and T like the drink. I have a Patreon where you get extra content, including an exclusive blog and videos. I'm currently posting my caffeine-free week video vlog, which turned into my life falling apart. It was beautiful. You can go to patreon.com/AngusIT for that. And shout out to all my lovely Patreons, Vanessa, Rachel, Laura, KT and Taylor. Thank you so much for your support. You can go to www.angusit.com for further show notes. You can email me at angusit@gmail.com. And I always forget to say this, but my DMs are always open. I have a fun time chatting with you guys. It is a blast. So feel free to message me. And with that, I hope that you get a free pizza. Like, if I got a free pizza, I want you to get a free pizza. I want you to get a free burger. I want you to get like a free Sonic tot. Like, I want that for you so badly. Like, let's all manifest it for a second. We were all about to get a free food item by the end of this week. Namaste. And with that, I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye, heifers.